Welcome, everybody, to Strangest Species. I'm your host, Mike Davis, back with the other lovely host, One-Eyed Willie. Or Ethne, depending on how you want.
It's my pseudonym.
I feel like that one was already taken.
Yeah, probably so.
But maybe not. Maybe I'm confusing that.
Well, I just recently adopted it.
That's true. Why did you adopt it? What's been going on?
Well, for
life?
those that are regular listeners, we had to pre-record three of our podcasts because we were supposed to be on this wonderful, awesome family vacation on a cruise for the first time. And I guess the day before, I think I had mentioned that I was having weird eye stuff. And then I even said central serous chorioretinopathy, like way back in January.
I don't know.
I think I did. Anyway, the day before we were supposed to leave, I went to an ophthalmologist because my eye was still blurry. And anyway, long story short, he told me that I had to have emergency surgery the next day. And I said to him, I can't have emergency surgery the next day. Our family's going on family vacation tomorrow. And he was like, well, no, you're not. You need to have this emergency surgery. And if you go on your vacation, I will not perform the surgery because that is not what I recommend, because you could go blind forever out in the middle of the ocean. And I just don't think that's smart. So I cried for literally 2 hours, asking every possible option, every this and that. I waited like an hour of crying before I even called my husband and my parents. And it was the worst day ever. We spent 6 hours after that trying to reschedule everything in our lives that had been prepped for this vacation. That was emotionally exhausting. And Carnival did not we didn't even want to be reimbursed. We just wanted to be allowed to reschedule, like the credit back to reschedule and pay the difference. Let's say if it's like a different fee on a different week or whatever. Nope. They did not care about doctor's notes. The surgeon even said, like, I will speak to somebody, but nope, they do not care. They are like, oh, well, you could send us this email with the doctor's note and you may or may not get a credit, but probably not. And then the next person I spoke to said, nope, that's only for military. And then they're like, oh, no, I guess you can still send it. So basically, we're never going to hear from anybody.
No.
And they do not care. So for anyone who is contemplating a cruise, 2 suggestions.
Oh, let me hear your suggestions.
Yeah. Don't use Carnival because they were not kind at all. We talked to 5 different people and spent 6 hours. That's what it was. 6 hours trying to explain the situation and like talk to the top dog. It was terrible.
It was terrible. And I understand they can't resell that room on one day's notice. But we own a business, and there's plenty of times where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to eat it in the short run right now to make a lot more money in the long run, or just for goodwill, to have patients, or in our case, customers, happy. Like it, I don't know.
Well, it goes a long way because
it does go a long way.
They had the potential to have, we've never cruised before, but if we love it and we love their line and we have good experiences, we will go again with the same line. After this, I don't think we will ever book with Carnival again.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I now.
Yeah.
And again, yeah. No, I don't. So
my other suggestion is wait till the very, very last minute to pay for said cruise. Like if you don't want to pay the $1,500 in cancellation fees, this is very rare. That it probably happens to people literally the day before. So, I mean, the hotel that we had to stay in was less than 24 hours notice. So obviously we lost out on that. And there's just, to prepare yourself, I think if you could wait till the very, very last minute to make all your full payments, then if you have some sort of weird emergency situation, you at least are in control of your money.
Yeah.
Those are my only two suggestions here in
I
this
like it.
situation. But yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, so you had a torn retina.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you ever said that, but that was the issue.
The final diagnosis was a torn and displaced retina, if you will. They call it dysplasia, but it's like flipping over and torn. And
this is from a car accident you had a couple years ago.
yeah, he explained.
Apparently, that's what the surgeon
Is
thought it was
certain it's from. So I have a silicone band around my eyeball for the rest of my life that is stitched in place to the muscles of my eye. So I have this constant scratching feeling in my eyeball that it's an itch that you cannot scratch. And it's irritable. It's just, and then right now, my like healing part on the outside of my eye is super itchy. So that at least I can itch, but it's probably not good to be touching it.
But you're starting to look great.
But I'm looking
Much less Halloween-esque.
Yeah, much less like abused.
Or abused, yeah.
I had a lot of people look at me, say weird things, double take. I finally just started saying it. Like, because I think you can't avoid it. Like, oh, I had emergency eye surgery.
It was super
Gross.
gruesome looking.
Oh, it was terrifying.
Inside and outside.
Well, and I'm still like my eyeball's still dilated.
Well, even right now as you're talking to me, your eye is closed. Like,
because it's more comfortable. Because if it moves, then I feel the scratchiness more. But yeah. So anyway, that's the long of the short. I will say for my husband, for Mike's mental health, we did still go. I got the clear 1 week post surgery to fly to California. We did get to do 2 days down there. Getting the sunshine. The place we stayed had a little lemon tree that was just super happy.
big old lemon tree.
Well, sure. Cute little house. Adorable. Yeah. Anyway, so he got the sun therapy, kind of. I mean, everyone's very jaded. My whole family. That was very emotional.
The kids did amazing. It
was
you give
rough.
them this for Christmas, and then the day before you're supposed to go, you break the news like, "Hey, sorry guys, we're not going because Mom has to have surgery."
And we have everything packed. Literally, almost.
Literally, our suitcases are still packed.
Yeah, because we are just in trauma mode here.
But they did really, really well, and Ethne was a trooper and did super well.
Yeah, and my son was very sweet. He had me wear his one-eyed Willie. For those of you that don't know the Goonies, I mean, you have to watch it if you have not. I cannot stress this enough. You will love it. It is epic.
Yeah, it's like the greatest movie of my childhood.
Right. So he made me wear that to surgery, and my cute little boys drew me this most adorable pictures and notes.
Well, and Taylor sent you that fun text message with your eyeball hanging out right afterwards. That was cute.
Was that cute?
I thought it was cute.
Nah, that was a little like, oh gee, like a cartoon character. I got a lot of funny jokes, but that's where the
you
one-eyed.
Had a good friend bring you a one-eyed bunny rabbit.
Ooh, and eyeball candy.
And eyeball candy.
Gummy candy. That, of course, my children ate all of.
Well, they were kind of gross.
Well, yeah, they loved them.
The bunny's super cute, though.
The bunny is really cute, literally one-eyed. So there were so many people reached out. It was so nice. Like, offered meals. They just, rides for kids. It was super, super nice.
Yeah. So, it was super terrible that we didn't get to go on our cruise, but I'm very glad that you didn't go blind.
In the middle of the ocean. That would have been way worse.
Or having to get life flighted off of a cruise ship, or trying to deal with this in Mexico.
Ooh, yeah.
And it was nice because our staff was off for the whole week already. And so I couldn't go back to work. So I was around to help, take kids places and
help with the routine of things that I obviously couldn't do.
Right. So, was it terrible? Yes. In retrospect, I'm glad you're better. Or getting better.
Getting better. I still can't see very good out of it, but I'm hoping that will come with more
still
healing.
Look a little
creepy. Not a little. I can't even still open all the way.
Yeah, but much better. Much better.
Oh dear. So. I guess if you're comparing to like day one, sure. If you're comparing to before surgery, probably like still worse. Way worse.
Still worse, but getting there.
Yeah, getting there.
Getting there.
So anyway. It was rough.
That was rough.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you were jealous that we were on a cruise when you were listening to these last 2 episodes,
Don't worry, we weren't.
We weren't. We were right here.
I was sleeping at a 45-degree angle in the corner crevice of my couch, trying to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Oof. Anyway.
So, one other thing I want to mention real fast before we get going into today's episode. If you are one of the people that live in the Spokane area, that's where we're from.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. And you are listening to this podcast, you need to go do me a favor and check out Cafe Boku.
Mm-hmm. It's like an Asian fusion cafe. And it is
Dessert cafe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crepes.
No, they have crepes. They have things called croffles.
We have one in our fridge right now.
A croffle is a croissant waffle. That's like the word combo. And so they use a croissant batter, but like in a waffle iron. And then their flavors are ube. If people are familiar with these flavors, they have an ube one and a pistachio one. They have a strawberry.
What's the banana one that's really popular?
That's
is that the ube?
Well, it's not actually. Ube is not banana.
Right, but they have a banana ube combo.
They add banana to the ube because they blend really well together. They also have this amazing pandan or pondan, if you're I don't know the right pronunciation, but pandan flavor of like drinks, milks,
It's kind of like
lattes.
a vanilla coconutty
Coconut.
flavor.
But it's like
It's green.
it's green, and so ube is purple, and you can also get like ube lattes, and they are just the literal nicest people. They do the cutest things on top of we got a teddy bear on top of your lattes or your, warm. There's stuff for the kids, like, non-coffee stuff. And it's really,
It was so good.
They are the nicest
They were
people.
so nice. And they don't sponsor us or anything. This is just a shout out because they were that cool.
Oh, they were so cool. In fact, I've been there. Well, they only serve this ube pudding on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I wanted to try that. So I went and got it, and then of course got my kids a drink, and they just gave me my kids' drink for free. So then when I picked up my daughter from school on Friday, she saw the pudding because I was going to share it with her. And she's like, no, I have to go. I'm like, well, they did give me something for free, so we need to go back and spend more money. I keep telling them, no, you can't do this. And so she got the pistachio croffle and a drink.
See, this is the difference between them and Carnival.
Oh, yeah. And again, they gave us something for free. I was like, no, you guys, for real, you have to stop doing this because I can't tip you. I don't have cash. And so they are, I'm not saying that they are going to give you stuff for free. I just say they are amazing. Their customer service, they're super personable. They remembered me. Well, I mean,
Well, you have one eyeball.
Yeah, I'm kind of hard to forget right now. But I mean, they were just so kind.
Yeah, I was very impressed. I love local businesses.
Oh, yeah. And they're brand new, kind of trying to
a couple
start
years,
out.
Right?
No, not even.
Not even?
Mm-mm.
But they were just super cool. So
Okay.
I feel like they needed a shout out.
We can even post, I have pictures, so we could post some pictures on our page, right?
Yeah, that means I can post some pictures on our page.
Well, yeah. Yeah, of course. You can post some pictures.
So, okay, Anthony, have you ever, this is actually a great topic for today.
Oh, good.
Since you're one-eyed Willie,
Okay, perfect.
have you ever searched for buried treasure?
Real buried treasure? Or just like in my backyard, like fake buried treasure?
I'm pretty open to anything.
Yeah.
Have you ever found buried treasure in your backyard?
I mean, yeah, I've seen my kids dig up a whole chest out of the dirt.
I did bury a treasure chest in the backyard
Yeah,
once.
and sent them on a wild goose chase. That was just last year.
Was that just last year?
Yeah.
Man.
With your nephews.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
And you made the youngest one dig, and he couldn't do it. You made Brooks do it.
Man, I'm a jerk. I take back that I'm so cool.
So we like to do a lot of scavenger hunts in our yard and stuff like that. So as I'm trying to think of my childhood, I loved like scavenger hunts or whatever, treasure hunts. The kids did one at Legoland. They loved that. But I'm trying to think of myself, like, not real treasure.
No.
Ooh, not Lego, the metal detectors. Mm-hmm. That's like kind of digging for treasure sometimes.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I have also never searched for buried treasure. Never had a cool treasure map. Never had any gold doubloons or Spanish galleons.
No.
I live a sad life.
I would just like to have a big gold bar like today in the movie.
Yeah, we watched The Mask of Zorro from 1998.
it was
Antonio Banderas.
So good. And Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah, it was good. I forgot about that movie.
I love that movie.
So we're going to talk about a real life treasure.
Ooh.
You
do love like that one from Alberta. Or from Canada, I mean.
A treasure hunt from Canada?
Yeah, it's like those big guys that show.
Oh, yeah, The Curse of Oak Island.
Yeah, The Curse of Oak Island.
I do like that show.
You do like
I
that
haven't
show.
watched it in a while, but there was a run there.
Yeah, you like it. So
Yes.
you're a wannabe pirate.
Oh, of course.
And I'm a real pirate.
Right
with
now.
one eye. Yeah,
You had a patch on earlier.
I did.
You don't have a patch on right now. Sometimes I wish you'd put the patch back on. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't even look that bad.
My sister sent me a bedazzled patch eye cover. Oh, it was fancy. Like a whole headpiece.
It was cool.
But I'm not fancy enough to go anywhere to wear it. Anyway.
No, that's true. That is true. So we're going to talk about a guy by the name of Forrest Fenn.
Forrest Fenn. Okay.
Forrest Fenn was your average dude. He was born in 1930. He became a Air Force pilot, and he flew a bunch of combat missions, was a decorated pilot, got out of the service at about age 40, moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and started a museum of Native American history.
Cool.
Now, generally speaking, when you think of museum, what's the word? Curators,
Uh-huh.
do you think of a lot of money?
Not generally.
I would not think so.
Not unless you're like a really big high up museum somewhere.
Yeah. So his museum, and there's a lot of gray area about where all these artifacts came from.
Okay.
Because he had a very nice museum. He sold artifacts through the museum, but he made about $6 million a year in sales.
Is there like a cover for drugs?
One would think.
Yeah,
Kind of
that's
like my auto guys in Cleveland.
In Cleveland, for surely. There's more going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, $6 million. That's a lot.
Yeah. So at one point, the FBI did raid his house and took a bunch of artifacts, but they never charged him with anything.
How do they have the right to take the artifacts if
Well,
they didn't charge him?
Because if there's things that are like taking off that you've taken from, national land or
Then it's technically
ancient, not
not.
ancient, but Native American burial grounds, stuff like that are historical. Then I think the argument would be you don't have the right to own them to begin with.
Right. I see what you're saying.
But they never charged him as,
Stealing.
having these things that he shouldn't have.
Interesting.
But if you go to his house is like a museum. It's crazy. And they're just like tubs of bones and tubs of arrowheads. And he's got supposedly Sitting Bull's peace pipe. And he's just got all these artifacts.
Where is he getting these?
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah. Seems like.
And he kind of, in one interview, he kind of made... The interviewer asked him, the journalist asked him, where do you get these things? Like, oh, my lawyers advised me that I can't tell you these things. So is he honestly stealing them from, not stealing from people, but, burial grounds and things like that?
Like,
Are
you
they...
mean digging up graves?
Right.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm not saying he did, but you go from...
Grave digger.
Yeah.
Won't you dig my grave?
That's a good Dave Matthews song right there.
Yeah.
So you go from being a retired Air Force pilot to having this huge collection of...
It does seem odd.
Yeah, it does seem odd. And you're making a lot of money on it. So that was him.
Okay.
Cool guy, though.
Okay.
But yeah, $6 million a year is a lot of money selling things out of a museum.
For sure. Yeah.
So anyways, he ended up becoming quite wealthy.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah. And so at one point in his life, he was diagnosed with, I believe it was kidney cancer.
Oh, dang.
It was some kind of cancer. It was terminal. And so he decided he wanted to do something kind of extraordinary to leave a legacy behind. Okay. But then something crazy happened.
I'm waiting.
He got better.
Whoa. Just like out of nowhere?
Yeah, I don't know. He lived though. He beat this, it was like stage 4 cancer, wasn't supposed to make it, but he made it. So he decided what he was going to do was bury a treasure chest and make a public treasure hunt to get people to get out of their houses and get outside and just be living, because he was grateful to be alive. And he had all this artifacts and money.
Okay, so he made like treasure maps and like distributed them?
Oh, that's a good question. Not exactly.
Oh.
He was a little more eccentric about it.
Ooh.
So let's talk about the chest itself first.
Okay. He buried it though, right?
He did.
Okay.
So he had a wooden chest made that was about 5 inches by 10 by 10.
Okay.
So, rectangle or a square with about 5 inches tall. It was made of wood, but the whole thing was lined in bronze. So if you looked at it from the outside, it looked like metal.
And would that prevent it from like rotting? Is that what was the...
Possibly, but also just looks cooler.
Oh.
It's a treasure chest.
Duh. Okay, I get it.
So I did have a locking front clasp. It weighed approximately 22 pounds or 10 kilos for you. On the outside of it were a bunch of pictures of knights scaling walls on ladders and maidens throwing flowers down upon them.
Wait, like he carved them into the wood?
No, this is in the metal.
Oh.
And he didn't do that. I don't know where these came from officially. Like who made it.
Right.
But inside, the chest contained gold nuggets, rare coins, jewelry, gemstones, and was worth about, depending on who was appraising it, $1.5 to $2 million.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, worth of treasure out there.
Dude, I want to do this treasure hunt.
Yeah, well, you could.
Is it still out there?
So I first heard about, I heard about this first, maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. I heard about this treasure hunt on a podcast that I like to listen to called Mysterious Universe. And they talked about Forrest Fenn's treasure. At the time, when I first learned about it, nobody had found the treasure.
Oh.
And so there's this money here, all this gold. There's a gold frog in there. It's pretty eccentric stuff. Bracelets full of, gemstones, and
wow.
It's like a legit
treasure. Yeah.
And so what he did was he wrote a book in 2010 called The Thrill of the Chase.
Now he would be so old. To write this book, he'd be 90 when he wrote that book. He said he was born in 1930?
Yeah. So he was 80.
He was 80. I'm sorry. When he wrote this book.
Mm-hmm.
This is impressive.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was very spry, very...
Okay.
And so he writes this book called The Thrill of the Chase, which it's not like a big book, It's kind of an autobiography, a little bit about him, a little bit about, Native American archaeology, whatever. But in this book, he has a poem. He writes this poem I think it's called The Thrill of the Chase as well. Maybe not. It's called something. It has a name.
Okay.
In his poem, he says there are 9 clues. If you follow those clues, it'll lead you to the treasure. And he publishes this book.
And the poem is in the book.
I'm going to read you the poem right now.
Oh. Ooh. I'm going to find this treasure.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I have to get my poem reading voice on.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Oh, that was a funny noise. Could you hear that?
Was that me?
That was me. My stomach made a weird noise, but it was really loud in my headphones.
Oh.
Anyways.
Oh, weird.
That's part of the preparation for the poem reading.
Oh, okay. You're getting ready.
Yeah. As I have gone alone in there, and with my treasures bold, I keep my secret where, and hint of riches new and old. Begin it where warm waters halt, and take it in the canyon down. Not far, but too far to walk, put in below the home of Brown. From there it's no place for the meek. The end is drawing ever nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease. But tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answer I already know. I've done it tired, and now I'm weak. So hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold. If you are brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold. Did you get the clues? Do you know where the treasure is, Ethne?
Well, I would have to do a lot of research. I feel like I need to watch National Treasure and kind of learn from Nicolas Cage. And then I would need to read the Hawthorne books again.
What are the Hawthorne books?
It's a series about like a really wealthy family that's all about treasures and riddles and stuff like this. And it's a grandpa who's really wealthy and takes place, I think, in Texas.
Huh. I think you'd be better off watching Oak Island.
Or watching Oak Island. And then I would take this and I would figure out, I'd have to learn all about him, where he lives, where his
He lives in
house.
Santa Fe, New Mexico.
I know, but like I'd have to research more. Like where would the water end and up a creek and brown.
So it's tricky because the 9 clues aren't even, doesn't tell you what the 9 clues are. There's just, in that poem, there are 9 clues.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of them are fairly obvious, one would think, like begin it where warm waters halt.
Right.
So the end of some warm river, before it hits some colder body of water or something. And then you're taking it down a canyon.
Mm-hmm.
Not far, but too far to walk. Put in below the home of Brown. I don't know what that means. Obviously, I don't know what any of these things mean, but that's a clue that you'd have to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
One of them that was kind of a big clue for a lot of these people is if you've been wise and found the blaze. So a lot of these searchers were thinking the blaze is going to be some kind of geological artifact somewhere out there, a giant vein of red rock in some other rock,
right.
A strange looking marking on a tree that looks like fire, something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he publishes this book. He claims he never made any money on the book. Like that wasn't the point of it. But he gets these out there and he does say, he gives a clue that the treasure is somewhere in New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, or Montana.
Huh. They're not very close to each other.
Well, they're right up a line from each other.
Well, sure, but
you're right. It's a big geographical area.
Yeah, this
to be
guy
looking
has like
for,
way too much time on his hands.
Well, when you're an eccentric millionaire, you do what you want.
I still don't understand how he's an eccentric millionaire. Like, why does he make it seem so easy?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's got to be more to this guy.
There's got to be more to it.
Like, he inherited a ton of family wealth and then was also an Air Force pilot. Like that part.
That would make more sense, but I never saw anything like that.
Well, I know.
Part of the mystery and the intrigue is where the money came from.
Right. And the artifacts just seem sketch,
Does seem a little sketch.
Or what's the other thing the kids say?
Sus.
Sus.
So sus.
I always forget that one. Okay.
So it kickstarted this gigantic cult-like treasure hunt.
So he did this in 2010?
Yep.
Okay, so in 2010, there was all these people hunting for this treasure.
About 65,000.
That's pretty impressive.
Over the years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And using just that poem. And so you're looking through all these national parks, all these state parks, all the, throughout all this, where could these things line up, So what made it even more interesting is that Forrest would interact with this group of avid searchers. Mm-hmm. He became good friends with a lot of them. They would throw like these big search parties and he would go out there and he'd hang out with them, but he would never give them any clues. He would never say anything. Like he had a great poker face. And that would drive me nuts. Like I hate watching a sporting event with someone who already knows the outcome. Like, I can't do it. Like, if one of my buddies is coming over to watch like a Gonzaga game and I have it recorded and they already know the score, like, I don't want to watch it with that person because it just bothers me that they know and I don't.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be bothered by it. I think I would try to get him stuck in his own words. Be like, ask him sly questions.
Well, people did all the time, but he was good, man.
Yeah. That's all I think I would do. I don't think it would bug me.
It would bug me.
You're so funny.
I'm just asking a question, and then I'm like, oh, he's thinking like I'm such an idiot. I'm so far off. Or maybe he's thinking I'm right. And then I would just go in circles, and I wouldn't like that.
No.
No.
Okay. I'm sorry.
So,
He must have passed away, though. I feel like it would be too old for him to still be alive. Is he still alive?
No, he's not alive now.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that some here. He did give 2 other additional hints over the years.
Oh, yes.
So he said it was between 5,000 and 10,200 feet.
Apart? Wait, what?
No, like elevation wise.
Oh, okay.
So you need topography maps, or at least know your elevations, you know. But 10,000, see, that seems weird to me, because then that would drive me nuts again. Like, is this a real clue? 5,000 to 10,000 makes sense. But to say 5,000, 10,200? It's like, okay, is it above 10,000 then in that range? Or why would you go over? Maybe that's just to throw you off. And really, it's at like 6,200.
This, for you, sounds like it's magic tricks for me. Like the irritating a little bit factor. Like, wait, how does this happen? I don't understand.
Oh, yeah, I get what
like,
you're saying.
You kind of seem like, okay, wait, like you're reading between the lines and like, what do you really mean by this? And kind of annoyed that he knows the answers. I feel like this for you is like the same as magic for me. Like a little bit so curious, but also like
frustrating.
Yeah. Like I know you're not doing anything crazy wild, but I cannot tell how you're doing this. It's just mind blowing.
Yeah. We went to Seattle last weekend and they have this at Pike Street Market, like the really famous market there where they throw fish. It's like 5 stories tall on the side of this hill. But inside of it, on one of those levels, there's this little magic shop. And there was this super cool old guy that was doing magic for our kids.
Felt like it was like in Willy Wonka.
Yeah. This store was like 20 by 20. I mean, itty bitty. He was such a nice guy, though.
We were captivated by him.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't leave for like, we brought in a bunch of other people too because we were so intrigued by his magic.
Just doing all these little tricks.
Well, he had this coloring book, you guys.
Apparently, you can just buy online, so it can't be that complicated.
But at the same time, I don't think you have to be like have the right touch to make it work. But it's like this coloring book it starts out with just coloring pages that are blank.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, he closes it and opens it back up, and they're all colored. And then the next thing you know, he closes it back up and blows or something. And then literally every page is blank. I'm like, I don't know.
It's demonic forces, Ethne.
No, I know
Black
it's
magic.
not. And I know it's something probably very simple.
Yeah, you always do feel stupid once you find out.
Or like those little blocks that you're supposed to make a pyramid.
Oh, that was so frustrating.
All of us tried it and none of us got it. And then he showed us. It was like, whoop. It was so easy. Anyway, it's just.
That's how I feel about this.
Okay,
I would not have been a good treasure hunter.
Yeah, I can tell. You'd be like, well, with this particular one, maybe. But okay.
I would take a pirate's map with X marking the spot. Yeah. That looks good.
Or.
But riddles.
Like the Spada treasure.
The what treasure?
In the Count of Monte Cristo.
I didn't watch it with you, so I don't remember.
His treasure map was pretty cool. Anyway.
Like if I was Frodo Baggins and I had to do riddles with Gollum, I would have lost.
Oh, dear. We're just not the riddle people. Or like with Joker. He had lots of riddles. Yep. I could never.
I wouldn't be a good Joker. Be a better penguin, maybe.
He's way creepier.
Or Two-Face.
Two-Face is the best. Okay. Sidetrack, focus. Okay, so he would hang out with people. He'd give them clues. He gave them 2 extra clues with the foot, and you do not like the 16, whatever, 200.
10,200.
10,000.
The extra 200 is just stupid. The other clue was he told them it wasn't in a mine, a tunnel, a graveyard, a cave, or associated with any kind of structure. So it was out in the woods somewhere. It was out in the open, you know.
I feel like that's...
I mean, not in the open. And I do think you could see it. I don't think it was buried.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That kind of defeats the purpose of a treasure hunt. I feel like it has to be buried.
Well, you'll never find it if it's buried if you don't have a map.
Oh, I suppose. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's got to be, it's like an Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
With clues. Worth $2 million.
Wow.
So, like I said, a lot of people got really into it. And I mean, really into it. People quit their jobs. They got divorced.
Oh, my.
They moved over to like Colorado and Wyoming and set up shop there to become full-time treasure hunters.
Wow, that's some dedication.
Yeah, people really devoted their whole lives to trying to find this treasure. I saw a video of one lady who retired early, and this search became her life. She even changed her license plate to TTOTC, the thrill of the chase.
Oh, wow.
She did not ever find the treasure, by the way.
Well, no one has, right?
We'll get there, actually.
Oh, okay.
We'll see if it has been found or what happens. But I can promise you she did not find the treasure.
Okay.
Another guy developed software to analyze every interview that Forrest Fenn ever did to see if he could break down any body language to try to get any kind of tells about a hint of where it might be.
This is insane. People are diehard.
That guy also did not find the treasure.
Yeah. Okay.
So this was going on for years. Like I said, I first heard about it in 2017 or 18, and no one had found it at that point.
And that would have been, so this would have been 7 or 8 years after the initial announcement.
Right.
Okay, wow.
But there were a lot of serious issues that arose from this search. Most people were looking in, like I said, state or national parks. Specifically Yellowstone.
Oh.
Forrest grew up going to Yellowstone a lot. It was very close and dear to him. And it's just ginormous, right?
Right.
So
that would seem like a good spot.
Yeah. But in 2013, a man was charged for damaging a cultural artifact while digging beneath an iron cross near the Pecos River in New Mexico.
Thinking that he had found it?
Yep.
Or that he
was on
to something?
Yep.
Gotcha.
In 2014, park rangers detained a couple for having a metal detector and digging in Yellowstone while searching, which I guess is not permitted.
I would assume not.
They also camped without a permit and started a small fire.
Oh, how
you
dare
believe
they?
These people?
I can't. I mean, I can see the clue with the blaze, like in the Grand Canyon. I think, isn't there a lot of red rock?
Sure.
And maybe things that look almost like a fire or something in the rock formation.
Yeah, and that's what these people are all trying to figure out. Where could?
I'm sitting here secretly trying to figure out all of it right now.
Thanks for paying attention.
Yeah.
Another gentleman was cited by New Mexico State Park officers after he dug a large hole on state land and then just left it.
Ugh, how dare! Ugh.
I know. So there were some simple things like that, but actually there were also multiple people who died. Died.
Wait, what?
They gave up their lives trying to find the treasure.
I don't even understand. Why are they dying?
Well, because they...
I must know. This seems strange.
They thought things were difficult to get to places. I'll talk about the dead people in a second.
Okay.
One more guy. January 2020. Remember that year?
Oh, yes. 3 months before it.
Yeah, I'd rather run into a psycho clown in my sewer than deal with COVID again.
Well, you're also not a child, and really it only preyed after children, so I bet it depends on who you are.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I'd take the clown.
Yeah.
David Christensen of Indiana. He had to be rescued because he attempted to rappel over 850 feet from a railing into the Grand Canyon.
Why?
Because he thought he was
onto something.
He was ordered to spend a week in jail and pay rescue costs of over $4,000, and he received a 5-year ban from the park.
Wow. This guy sounds special.
Yeah. So, but like I said, there were some deaths. In 2016, Randy, I don't know how to pronounce this last name, Bilyeu, Bilyeu. How would you pronounce that?
Bilyeu?
Yeah.
Bilyeu?
Anyways, he was found dead along the Rio Grande River. And they couldn't figure out how he died, but his ex-wife stated that he had been out looking for the Fenn treasure.
But no one really knows what happened, per se.
Right.
Okay.
Jeff Murray of Batavia, Illinois, was found dead in Yellowstone National Park on June 9th, 2017, after falling 500 meters down a steep slope.
Yikes. That would be terrible.
Yes. His wife also told authorities that he had been looking for the treasure when she reported him missing.
You think that was like an accident? Like he
Probably,
just...
yeah. You know, it was probably climbing something steep or... Now, there were times where state officials actually came out and said, you should end this stupid thing for us because we're having to deal with a bunch of idiots all over the place and people are getting hurt and dying.
Right.
There was a Pastor Paris Wallace of Grand Junction, Colorado.
Yeah.
He told family members he was going out looking for treasure, but he failed to show up for a reunion, and his car was found parked, and his body was found 5 to 7 miles downstream.
So they don't know again what happened.
But
it's so funny. Like if someone said to me, hey, I'm just going to go treasure hunting. I'll be back in a couple hours for family dinner. I'd be like, you what now? But I guess maybe people didn't think that was weird.
yeah, I don't know if it was his family dinner or like a reunion. Like, oh, hey, where's Uncle Bill? He was supposed to be here.
Oh, either way. I mean, if I heard of anybody like literally going to search for treasure for a couple hours, I mean, unless you have like a metal detector and you're going, like to a
right. But let's say we lived in Colorado or Wyoming. I could totally see myself like in a summer day, like, hey boys, we're gonna go look for this treasure that maybe is out here,
just for kicks and giggles.
Like
not
as
like
a family thing,
outing.
and we're
like
out.
A family outing, like a hike.
I wouldn't be rappelling off of guardrails.
I mean, I would hope that you would not be doing any of these things that other people did to die. Obviously, there are accidents, but I mean, using your brain is definitely a great, element to safety. And I just feel like why you're rappelling off. I mean, why would you think you need to do this? This means that if you think there's something up there, wherever you're going, he would have had to do the same thing.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, this man's 80. You have to remember the age that he was when he hid this.
And according to him, he's the only one that knows where it is. It's not like he got his grandson to go bury it for him.
Right. Yeah, I believe that. He just seems like the kind of guy that, yeah. So, I mean, whatever would possess you to think you need to do that, it's like you've gone just too far.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
So there were a couple other deaths as well, but we'll...
Like in similar fashions or totally random?
One...
Like falling?
Actually, I think both of them drowned.
Seems like that's a... There are some water references in his...
Yeah, you gotta go down a creek.
Yeah.
And...
So I wonder if they were trying to find those, follow those leads,
right.
or at least
and
what they thought.
Some...
Who knows? Yeah.
More treacherous waters.
At different seasons and stuff. So maybe they thought they were on a lead in that regard and just kind of forgot safety or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Especially if you're like an amateur. If you didn't know...
But didn't they say something about going backwards up a stream or something?
I don't remember.
Okay. Anyway.
Like, I went whitewater rafting a couple years ago on the, where was I? On the Snake River. And you might be rafting for 8 hours, and 7.5 of those hours, you're bored out of your mind. Like, the water's like glass. And then for the other half an hour, you're going over rapids. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And it's not all at once. It's 3 minutes of rapids here, and then you're floating for 2 hours and a little more. But if you were an amateur, you could do the 7.5 flat, no problem. But you could quickly find yourself in trouble on the half
for
an hour
sure.
of rapids, you know?
Oh, for
so
sure.
if you didn't know what you're doing and you're just like, oh, I'm going to go up this creek and I'm going to go kayaking and see if I can find something, and all of a sudden you get
Turn
yourself
into the rapids.
right
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
caught into something. So I don't know
Okay.
what happened to those guys, but we had issues.
Yep.
So in 2020, Forrest Fenn posted on, he had a big blog that he would write on all the time to all the searchers.
So now at this point, he would have been 90.
90 years old.
Okay.
Declared that the treasure had been found in Wyoming.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
By who?
Well, at first, this is interesting. At first, the finder wanted to be anonymous. Didn't want anyone to know who he was or she. Didn't want anything. But eventually came forward as Jack Stoof, a medical student from Michigan.
Huh. Stoof. I like that.
Stuef.
Yeah.
Stove. So, for those who were super into it, like the lady with the license plate change,
Yeah.
it was actually really, really hard for them because their whole life was just over. Like everything just, now it's done.
Oh, yeah.
I've been doing this for years.
Right. Well, then what do they do?
Yeah, exactly. So just like that, boom, it was gone. Forrest died just a couple months after the treasure was found.
Oh, how convenient.
How convenient,
How
huh?
convenient.
Now, why do you say it? Like, what are you thinking when you say that?
I bet you he knew that he was dying, or he could feel that I'm the only one that knows that this is out there where it is. I need to say that someone found it, or I need to maybe because he realized there's like quite the cult following, you know, that I need to kind of let people know that they can stop looking, because after he died, I mean, people would be going and going.
Right.
Or maybe he decided like, hey, I'm going to die. I probably just don't want to leave this treasure hanging out here. I want to like take it and give it to, doesn't sound like he had any posterity really, huh?
He does.
Oh,
His wife, he's got kids.
Oh, he does.
grandkids.
He's got a family.
Mhm.
Okay. So then I think he's probably like, I'm just going to say some random name or what, I don't know what. And then I'm going to just like keep the treasure in and let my family inherit it and just say it got found. I mean, I feel like there's a million different things, but when the end is coming, I feel many people, especially at that age, you kind of know. Like you could just feel like my grandma.
Yeah.
She just knew, you know. And so it just seems very convenient.
It does seem convenient.
Yeah.
So many of those hardcore people, even after it was found, they didn't stop. What they did was they transitioned to looking for the spot of where the chest was.
Wow. Why?
That's what I was going to ask you. Why? And so the reason is because Jack, the guy who found it, never disclosed the location of where he found it, other than it was in Wyoming. Nor did he ever give the solution to the riddle. Nor did he ever talk about how he figured out the riddle. And so there was...
Because he never really did it.
Well, that's a thought. So there was no closure. You know, you can imagine you're trying to solve a riddle for, let's say, like 5 years. And all of a sudden someone finds it. You're going to be heartbroken, but you're going to want to know, okay, well, what was it?
Oh, for sure.
You know, where was it? How did you do it? Where'd you start? How did you figure it out?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Just crickets. And it really hurt a lot of these people. Like, they get really angry when you see interviews with them.
Is there
and stuff.
actually a face to his name? Yes.
So there wasn't, but then, and I didn't get into the details of how this all worked, but there was a lawsuit that was essentially going to reveal who he was, so he came out. And I don't think the lawsuit was being sued to find out, but I think in the process of some lawsuit, it was in discovery or whatever was going to come out who it was that won it.
Got it.
So it did come out, you know, who he was. And according to him, in 2022, he auctioned off the contents for $1.3 million.
Wow.
And that's really the end of Jack. I
Wow.
mean, that's it.
Interesting.
So But like you said, it just doesn't quite add up for a lot of people.
Yeah.
He did say that he only went out looking about 20 times before he found the treasure. Where some of these people did thousands. They spent years looking for it.
Yeah.
So it just was weird that he never said anything about it.
Right.
He sold it.
He said it was
And
a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, we figured it out. I think it was 20 times, like over 2 years.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Seems weird.
It does seem weird, especially from Michigan. It's one thing if you're like, oh, I'm from Wyoming. I just happened to go look where I've been hunting my whole life and it was there. It was lucky.
So strange.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit there for a second about the motive if you were Forrest Fenn to end the hunt.
Right. So,
excuse me. It had become this huge sensationalized thing, right? This hunt. And like all huge sensationalized events, it brought out some wackos.
Oh, yeah.
The world is full of crazy people.
Unfortunately, yep.
And, surprisingly, crazy people are drawn to the opportunity of finding a treasure chest.
I mean, I would be drawn to the opportunity.
Non-crazy people were too, but a fair amount of crazies were. Okay. So at one point, Forrest received an email from a searcher claiming that he believed that Forrest's granddaughter was the actual treasure.
Oh, okay.
And that man actually even made it onto Forrest's property before the police got there and arrested him.
Oh, boy.
So, this is a little bit of conspiracy theory. We're now out of the realm of fact and into conjecture. Okay?
All right. For all you listeners, it's conjecture only.
Yes. Forrest was getting older. He knew his time on this earth was coming to an end. He was the only one who knew exactly where the treasure was. So what if after he's dead, someone pulls a similar stunt like that and goes to one of his kids and says, I need to know where the treasure is. I've kidnapped your daughter or something. And none of them know where the treasure is. True.
That's scary.
And people had broken into his house as well, looking for the treasure and stuff.
Man, these people.
So is it safer just to end it while you're alive?
Oh, for sure.
And just say, hey, before I'm out of here, let's just wipe our hands clean of this and be done.
He probably found this random guy somewhere, totally random. And it ended up being the stoof guy.
Yeah.
And said, hey, I'm going to pay you like a lot of money. And you're going to just act like you found this treasure.
Or maybe you just let him find the treasure. I mean, you got plenty of money. This isn't like your whole...
Right. Or you just tell him, there's a treasure. If you go look over here, you'll find it. And then he just really, truly found it.
Yeah. I don't know. So the question is, how do you end it? Like, you can't just call it off because that'll kill your legacy and it'll anger all these people.
You have a fake finder.
You hire somebody to find it for you.
Yeah, a fake finder.
And it would make sense that you would need someone outside of that close circle of searchers.
Yep.
And like I said, many of these searchers find Jack to be very non-credible. And for a few reasons. Like I said, he hasn't spoken much at all about how he did it, how he figured it out, where he went. But for example, one of the clues in that poem was something about the blaze, right? Whatever this blaze was. So Forrest was specific that the blaze was a geographical landmark and would last for thousands of years.
Okay.
But Jack claimed that the blaze had probably been eroded away by nature if others were trying to find the spot where it was.
Oh.
So it's almost like he doesn't even know what he's talking about to begin with.
Right.
And so, and the blaze, if Jack thinks it's going to last, or Forrest is going to think it's going to last thousands of years, probably not going to erode it. I can't talk all of a sudden. Fade away or erode. I was trying to combine those two words in a cool new word.
Erode and fade. Erade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what you said.
In 10 years. It's probably still going to be there.
Interesting. Because you would have to think about a lot of these factors if you're going to bury it and then it's out there for decades, you know? Okay.
So again, Jack never said where he found it. He does claim that he has photos of himself with the treasure in his car and with him in the hotel room. But he's never released these photos to anybody, which seems simple enough. He'd be like, look, yeah, here it is. Now, he has released a photo. There's a photo of the treasure where he found it. He's not in it. The treasure's open, the box. It's sitting beneath a couple logs. And it's funny. There's a whole group of people who are still trying to find the spot. And they are totally CSIing this photo. Like, oh, okay, there's an aspen leaf, so it's got to be where there's this kind of tree, and there aren't very many of these kind of trees in this forest. And the logs are laying like this, so it's got to be.
Okay, so there's nothing in it now for these people.
There's not even it.
So why do they care? I mean, I understand the curiosity a little bit, but not enough to dedicate so much time and energy.
You got me, man.
Okay.
You got me.
Well, if any of our listeners out there are diehard Fenn treasure hunters and are trying to find the spot where the treasure used to be, please tell me what you do for your full-time job, because that'd be a big job, and it'd keep you busy. And then where's your income?
Yeah, you probably live in your car.
I don't know. I really don't know.
No, they seem like cool people, a lot of them.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah. So, the ultimate question, was Jack hired to be the finder to maintain Forrest's legacy and protect his family? Again, your first hypothesis, though, makes more sense. Why not just pretend like someone found it?
Yeah.
Or pay someone, here's $100,000 to say you found this.
Right.
Sign a contract that you're never going to talk about this.
Right. It would be cool.
That'd be a lot easier.
If he wanted to pay someone, more so for the safety of his family, which I'd never even thought about. But he still just left it out there. And it's still out there. And he just paid the guy to
end it.
To end it in quotations.
But someone might still find it someday.
Yeah. It'd be fun.
That would be cool. So it's interesting. Like I said, when I first learned about this story, it had not been found. And I remember thinking oh, that's super cool. And then when this popped back up on my radar a couple weeks ago, I was shocked to see, it actually has been found. And there's an ending to this story, which actually makes for a better story.
And what was the year that he found it?
2020. So
exactly a decade after.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he also had a timeline, like a self timeline, I'm 80. By the time I'm 90, if this has been out here for 10 years, I'm just going to cancel the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I could see myself as a treasure hider thinking a lot of those things.
Do you have treasure?
No.
Oh, dang.
If I were a treasure hider, I could see myself being like, okay, I'm going to give everybody out there 10 years to see if they can find it. And if they can't, then that's okay. We had fun. And I'll take my treasure back and, donate it because I'm going to die. So,
or you can give it to your kids.
Well, donate it to my kids or whatever. Yeah. However,
I wonder if my parents have any treasure.
Yeah, me too. I sure wonder if mine do.
I hope so.
I've never thought that before in my life, actually. So when you said that, I was like, no.
Nope.
But it would be cool. I still think something like the Goonies would be.
Well, see, their dad was a curator of a museum as well.
Yeah.
That's where they find Willie's treasure map.
Right. Yeah.
Chester Copperpot.
Yeah, Chester Copperpot. That's exactly, it's like every kid's dream, that show.
It's true.
It's so great.
Do-do-do-do.
Do-do-do-do. I feel like I need to watch it.
All righty, everybody. I want to go to bed, so let's call it an episode.
Okay. So there are photos, there are photos of Jack, but just the treasure, not him ever in it with the treasure.
Right. So there's a photo of the treasure out there.
But how do we know what time frame that treasure was at?
That's a great question.
You know what I mean? Oh, it's so weird. Okay. So people are still out there.
And it's a weird photo because there's it's like under a couple logs that are kind of crisscrossed.
Yeah.
It was under
kinda
there.
Like the X.
Kind of like the X.
Okay.
It's open, but there's a twig, like a branch, maybe 8 inches long, sitting on top. Like, why would you put a stick on top of the gold and then take a picture of it?
Maybe for size reference. You know how sometimes if you take a picture and you have no reference of
but
size.
There's plenty of other stuff in the picture. There's leaves. There's,
I have no idea. I was just.
So it just seems, I don't know.
Seems
weird.
fishy.
Something doesn't seem to be adding up.
Seems fishy. Well,
but that's the life of treasure hunting.
Totally.
A lot of fishiness.
A lot of fishiness.
Especially when there's pirates involved.
Maybe it's still out there. Maybe it really got found. Maybe it didn't get found at all. But he just said so.
Yeah. I definitely would not invest any time looking for it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to. But maybe there's someone out there that still thinks it could be out there or really cares that much where the spot was.
There's definitely a group of people that care and wants to know where
that spot was. Which is so intriguing to me. I can't imagine why.
Well, for one of the ladies that I watched, she was a personal friend of Forrest. Like, they become friends over the search. And it was like, I think it's her way of grieving. Like, she needs to know.
Oh, interesting.
Where that was.
Yeah, and I can see that. Like, almost like some closure to.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know.
Well, so curious.
So curious. Well, everyone, you have a wonderful week. We will be back next week. I think I know the topic already. My brother has sent me a recommendation a few times, and I think I'm going to take him up on it. So.
Guess what? I don't know.
No, you don't know what it is.
Nope. But actually, we keep getting suggestions from people.
Both of my brothers sent me suggestions this week.
Well, and also our friends that Thai food or something.
Yeah.
I had to plug my ears or go away. So
we had 3 different suggestions this week, which is great because that's less work for me.
Trying to find them. Yeah. Well, it's no work for me.
It is none whatsoever for you. But you do such a good job.
It's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to know.
No.
All right.
Well, everyone have a wonderful week. We will be back, hopefully, with all of our eyeballs next weekend.
Hopefully.
Yep.
Functioning.
And you guys take care. We'll talk to you soon.
See you later.
Bye.